Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be back. Happy 2024. The last episode we had was last year, and we're already into the second week of January. We took a little bit of a hiatus. I wish I could talk. We took a little bit of a hiatus, is the word I was trying to say. Because my birthday is actually the first weekend of January. So I am a Capricorn. Anybody that reads signs and stuff, let me know what I should be expecting this year. I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I am excited to hear it. You guys know from a couple episodes ago that I had my cards read like the year or two before I met my now husband, and it told me that I was going to be meeting my husband soon, and I couldn't have believed it then, but here we are. So I'm not going to fully throw all that stuff out the window. I think that there is some realness to it, even if it just plants the seed in your mind, good or bad. So hopefully it's good. But anyways, we're back, and this is going to be a shorter, just check-in episode. I just wanted to see how everyone's doing. I wanted to do a quick check-in of how our bachelor is doing and just see how everyone's starting off the year. I will start off with my handy-dandy notebook, and we'll go through the checklist. I haven't even taken off this cover side of this notebook yet. I really should, but I just haven't. Oh, there's something in there. This notebook has been to... I guess it has an area you can write all in it. If you're not watching this on YouTube, then just ignore me. I'm looking at one of the moleskin notebooks that you can get from Target, and my husband got it for me for Christmas. It was in my stocking. But I have some check-ins that I've been going over my past, I think 3 or 4 podcasts. So I'm just going to keep going with that as our intro because I really like it. So first, what is new? First thing that is new is my attitude, I think, is definitely something that's new. I have a much brighter and positive attitude that I'm working with. I also have a new little clip ring light. If you're watching the video, let's see if it makes a difference. So 1, 2, 3, it's off and it's on. Makes a very subtle difference, but whatever, it's here, it's new. I also got a new massage coat for my birthday. It was consignment, so it had been previously loved, but I love clothes that are previously loved. This shirt that I'm wearing was previously loved. Both of these necklaces are vintage and previously loved. So I always think that if you can reuse something that has served somebody else and maybe no longer fits them or doesn't serve their wardrobe anymore and it works for yours and you can get a big discount, go for it. So that is new. My husband got it for me for my birthday. And yeah, I would just say a new pattern of thinking and, the new year, just kind of, that's the newest thing. It's just a fresh start. Next question is, what am I excited about? I'm excited about what this year has in store for us. We already have so many friends that have amazing things happening in their lives. I know the last episode I had with Stuart, we were talking about how I had this anxiety of feeling like this year needed to top or match the energy of last year. Last year was huge for us. We had moved into the house that we're in now. We purchased our first property. We got engaged. We got married. We went to Europe for a month. We were going to New York. We went to California. We had so many things going on last year. And the pressure to try to top those things in 2024 was just too great. So I have really just focused in on absorbing all of the little moments, trying to stay as positive as possible and just look at the bright side in all of the situations that we're in and just enjoy my first full year of marriage. Obviously enjoy all the time with our little one that I can, and we always do that. But yeah, just that's something I'm really excited about, is spending another year as, wifey. Still crazy to think about, and just seeing my friends kind of flourish and grow and just see where life takes us next. What am I worried about? I know that we touched on this in the last episode, but I'm worried about the job market, the insecurity, people losing their jobs, getting laid off, is always such a high stressor for everyone involved. I've been seeing a lot of videos of TikTok of people recording them getting virtually let go or laid off. And they said, can you give me specific metrics that I did not hit? And the companies can't. They're just yeah, you're just not performing as well as we'd like. And the people are kind of fighting back a little bit and being why? Explain that to me. Explain what I've missed. And I told you guys I'm taking a new class, and even my, one of my professors there was recently laid off of their other job. And it's just that insecurity or, the possibility of another recession or having financial strain for everybody is definitely something that's on my mind. And it's something that I worry about for myself, for my family, my friends. It's just a lot of uncertainty, which when you really think about it, the world always has a lot of uncertainty, but this is just a worry that I have right now. I'm also worried about making sure that our daughter is getting well-rounded in her education and in her extracurricular activities. I always feel like we're not doing enough. We're not, she's not involved in enough things. And she goes to, her school activities, dances, she's on teams and does competitions for certain things, but it's hard to ever feel like it's enough. I feel like we're not giving her that competitive edge or letting her try enough new things. I always feel like there's such a fine line between being that parent that like forces their kid to do so many things because they're living vicariously through them. But I also don't want to provide her in this chapter in her life where she has so much flexible time and so little responsibilities. She really can try and fail 100 things a year and be perfectly fine. Of course, we wouldn't sign her up for 100 activities, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this to me is the chapter where kids can really just experiment and try everything. Try basketball, try dance, try cheerleading, try chess or tennis or golf, or there's just so many things out there. And I want her to be able to find that activity that sparks something inside of her that makes her really want to research and dive deep. And I don't think that we found that for her yet. There's been a couple activities that she's enjoyed, but most of the time she's like, how much longer do I have to do this? Which is not the feeling we want her to have either. Like, we want her to be excited and energetic about whatever she's spending her free time doing and have like a good group of friends there. So that's something I'm a little bit worried about. What's inspiring me? Lately, my nutritionist has been extremely inspiring. She's really helped me a lot. I had her on season 1. Her name is Kat Levengood. Her Instagram, I believe, is also Kat Levengood. She's amazing. She's really been helping me through my workouts. She's made a workout routine for me. She's given a new diet plan to me. And I love that we're not focused on calorie counting or calorie intake. We're really focused on protein and really upping calories or upping protein and not having such a strict and strenuous diet. It's just been really inspiring to me because I feel good. I feel better. I am on a regimen for vitamins that I'm taking in the morning and at night, but I feel like they've been helping me sleep. I've been taking magnesium and stuff at night, and it's really helped me, my quality of sleep. After I finish recording this podcast, I'm going to order myself and Stuart the Whoop rings, which is something else that she recommended. And I'm going to do a whole episode with her, so I don't want to dive too deep into it. But that's something that's been really inspiring to me, is that how a couple shifts, like instead of trying to work out every single day, just making the promise to myself that I'm going to move my body for 30 minutes every day, whether that means walking around up and down my driveway, walking a couple laps around my neighborhood, doing a 30-minute yoga on YouTube, or doing a strength training workout that she provided to me. Like, making those small, achievable goals to myself. And every time I hit one of those goals, my confidence level has been increasing. Because it's almost like I'm proving to myself that I'm worth it and that I can do it. And she's just really, really helped in that. So I can't wait to get her back on the podcast soon, just to talk about my journey over the past 60 days or 30 days or whatever it's been, maybe 90 days. But anyways, that's something that's been inspiring me, is just, you feel like you're so out of touch with your goals or where you want to be. And she's just really been like, you're really not that far off. Like, just a couple tweaks have really helped align me to where I want to be and where I am right now. What's in my browser? Okay, so in my browser, I still have up our wedding photo album. Always. I have not closed out of that tab once since she sent them over. The Real Reel is in my browser. I think I'm looking at 2 bags, which I need to like not shop for a while, but I'm looking at 2 bags. I have Zillow up, always looking at mansions that we can't afford. Pinterest, as always. I'm looking at CSB, which is the crop shop boutique. Rachel Dillon created the crop shop boutique. I did not even realize that it was her company. And I listened to a podcast that she did recently. And she said that that was her goal, was to create this workout line, like a clothing line that stood on its own without being so heavily influenced by just her. Because she is like a huge Australian influencer and she's about to get married and she's just very interesting to watch and she seems very sweet. So yeah, I had that tab pulled up. Don't know if I'm going to pull the trigger and buy anything, but it is something that I have in my browser and I've been looking at. I'm also looking at the Sea Containers London. So if you listen to season 1 of our travel blog, that is where we stayed when we were in London last. And your girl might be going to London again this year. We've got our little one, her passport, and we're wanting to take her as many places as possible. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, what if that's her thing? Because we were so nervous. She is such a creature of habit, in a good way. Like I can always expect like she's so cute too, like the cutest person ever. But she's going to want to get home from school, go and do a little skincare routine, wrap her hair up, put her silk bonnet on, and she's going to want to chill. She's very low key. So when we were taking her to New York for a week last June when Stuart proposed, we were so nervous that she wasn't going to want to walk around the town. She wasn't going to like the city. She doesn't like loud noises. She's just very finicky with stuff like that. The kid loved it. She was running around. She was wanting to try everything. She never wanted to get off of the tour bus. The only thing that she didn't like was going underground. We went into the subway once. With me and Stuart, we were on that subway morning, noon, and night. We went all the way to the Yankee Stadium, everything. But with her, she rode on it once and was like, I'm over it. So I do think that we might try to take her back to New York, take her to a Yankees game. She wanted to go to the Wax Museum. But I also wouldn't mind looking up some stuff like that in London. If there's a wax museum there, we might take her to the Harry Potter world, even though I started looking at it and it looks like it's just like the film studio. It's not like a big production. So maybe we don't need to spend our money on that. Anyways, those are all things that are in my browser. That always sends me on a tangent because I'll remember why I was looking at them. And I'm one of those psychos that has 14,000 browser tabs up and they've been up for months. And if someone exits out, I get so upset. So like when I'm recording these episodes, Stuart, if he's helping me set up, he's like, okay, can I close out of this tab? I'm like, absolutely not. No, because in my brain, those tabs will always remind me that I need to be doing something. Like I'm sure that if I went to my wedding photos, there's 2 photos that are in the cart that I needed to resize and purchase. And I haven't done it yet. They were probably supposed to be like gifts or something. So, sometimes mamas need their own little routine. Having 1,000 tabs is my routine. So that's why what's in my browser is part, or what tabs do I have open is like part of my check-in questions. Okay, so next is what are we talking about in today's episode? Again, this is just a check-in. It's the beginning of the year. I wanted to check in with you guys of how I'm feeling, some things that I'm bringing into the new year. We already did the ins and outs, so we're not going to like deep dive into that again, but I just wanted to check in and see how you guys were doing, chit chat for the first time of the year. One big thing I wanted to talk about was the type of podcast that you enjoy listening to, the type of guests that you like having on. We are going to have Kat on. I have reached out to a clean beauty brand. They actually reached out to me and we've been kind of talking back and forth. I need to reconnect with them now that we're into the new year and see if they're still wanting to have an episode. And then we have our bachelor. So our bachelor, Andrew, did go on another date last night, maybe 2 nights ago. Haven't gotten the full 411. Don't think it was great. I think that mutually they're just on opposite ends of the spectrum. He is like a hunter and she's a vegetarian. I mean, they were just very different. So I will wait until we get his full feedback, but he is still going on dates and he has another date scheduled for either this weekend or next week. So I'm excited for him to have his final 2 dates. And if you're watching this on the video, my eye is like burning. I never wear mascara and I actually wore mascara today. And of course, like a child, I kept rubbing my eyes and now it's like burning inside of my eye. Anyways, so I'm trying to think of anything else that's really been going on that you guys haven't been caught up on. We've been going to Wilmington a lot. We go there like every other weekend, if not every weekend. And it's just, I love it there. It's so nice. We're starting to have a little friend group there. Stuart, can work in that area too. Like one of his offices is there, so he can work there. I can work remote anywhere. And the kids have been out of school a lot. I feel like every other day is a holiday, teacher workday, something. So we've been able to really enjoy being in that area. Our families both are there. So his parents and his aunts are there. My grandparents are 15 minutes away. So it's been really nice traveling. It's been really therapeutic being close to the beach and being able to do my daily walks. And I just find myself more and more just falling in love with that town and that energy. And we tried out a new restaurant. I know I mentioned on Southern Mama approved TikTok, which I think I'm going to be getting rid of. And I'm just going to do everything on my one TikTok channel. It's too much to keep up with multiple. I don't know how people do it. But we went to a place called Tarantelli's, and it is an Italian restaurant, and they have a $1,000 cheese wheel, and you can purchase spaghetti and they'll dig out a piece of this $1,000 cheese wheel that's like the size of a tire, and they will make the spaghetti and like melt all of the cheese into the spaghetti in the $1,000 cheese wheel. And that's like one of their signature things. And the meal itself is probably like $30, but $30 for spaghetti is so expensive to me. So we've been there once and it was really good. And we wanted to try out a new place for my birthday. And it was called Pinhook or Pine Hook. Gosh, let me look. Pinhook, Wilmington. Can't be it because it's not showing up. Pinpoint in Wilmington. I should have been able to remember that. I think that this is it. And it is a Southern farm to table restaurant. It was pretty good. The food was delicious. It took a long time for our food to come out. And then there were several things that we ordered on the menu and they were like, oh, we can't do that. And it was on the menu and they were like, yeah, well, it's farm to table. So if the farmers didn't have it that day, like we can't make it, which I understand. But they made like a big deal about us making the reservations. And my little brother's birthday is the day after mine. We're 12 years and one day apart. So wanted to make his reservation, like wanted to add him to the reservation because he was in town from Ohio. And they're like, oh, well, if someone doesn't show up, it's a $25 fine for each person that doesn't show up in your party. And then we get there and the restaurant's completely empty. And I'm thinking, okay, I understand. Like, there are certain restaurants where you really do like have to be really mindful of the space that you have. And they were limited on space, but the restaurant was completely empty for the first 40 minutes that we were there. There was nobody else in, and it took almost an hour for us to get our food, which is fine. The food was phenomenal. Everybody loved their meals. Didn't love the dessert, which y'all know I have like all my teeth are sweet tooth. Like I don't just have one. So like the fact that I didn't like the dessert for my birthday was a little bit of a disappointment, but that's okay. But it just almost felt like they were creating all of these rules and making it difficult to get in and, putting a $25, cat or $25 charge on each person if they didn't show up. I understand that, but it almost felt like they were trying to push out a certain type of person and really just cater towards a higher class or people that just didn't care about throwing money places. Like the entrees were absurdly high prices, in my opinion. For it to be shrimp and grits, they were really good, but it wasn't, the prices were obnoxious, in my opinion. So I don't really love places like that. Like if I could go into restaurants and like do like I'm going to fix your business, I think that would be my dream job because there are so many times I want to walk in and I want to be like, you need to be treating everybody at a level 10. And I can tell you a restaurant in Wilmington that does that. And I can tell you a lot in Raleigh, but Wilmington, it's like a newer town for us visiting. So we've just been trying all of the little places. The kitchen sink. And I did a video on the kitchen sink as well. If you go on a weekday, they're pretty slow during the week, but on the weekends and during their brunch times, they're like so packed and their brunch is delicious. they treated you like you were the president of the United States walking in, or maybe I can come up with another analogy. You were a celebrity. I mean, Sandra Bullock could have been walking in the door when you did. They're like, hey, how are you doing? Would you be comfortable sitting here? Like, do you want to meet the chef? How are you? Do you want ice in your water? I mean, they were just so accommodating and so kind, and their prices weren't even a quarter of what this other place's prices were. So I just always really highly value experience in the way that I'm treated in an establishment. And so that was a little bit of a for me. I'm really trying to thank you guys. I mean, with the new year, things have been going really slow. It's pretty cold outside. I really want to go on a walk in a little bit. I will tell you a funny story before I let you guys go. It'll make it like a 25-minute episode instead of a 30-minute episode, but hey, it's a check-in. Okay. If you want a full hour, you'll have to pay for it. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. It was my birthday. And my neighbors, they're so sweet, and they have little kids that are so sweet, and they're homeschooled, so they're outside playing. And I was like walking around. Sometimes if I have a lot of work calls happening and I need to be near my computer, I'll just walk up and down my driveway if it's warm enough. It's like better than walking on the walk pad, and I still feel like I get a little bit of vitamin D. You get it. Anyways, so I'm walking up and down my driveway, and the neighbor's little kid is like, hey, Miss Shelby. And I'm like, oh, hey. And I walk over there, and they're like, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to come over and play with me? And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, but I can't because I'm going to the beach for my birthday. And they were like, oh, it was just my birthday. How old are you going to be? Okay. So when little kids ask that, it's funny to be like, how old do you think that I am? So I asked, how old do you think that I am? And she says, I don't know, 55 maybe. Well, her parents are probably about my age. They're probably between like 28 and 33. And I was like, you think I'm 50? I was like, oh, no, not quite. No, I'm not 50. I'll be 31. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, how old is that man that lives with you? And I said, my husband? He's 37. And she said, oh, so he's really your dad? Oh. Oops. I said, no, baby, he's my husband, but he is 37 and I'm 31. Thank you for noticing. Thank you. God bless. And I laughed so hard. And I told my husband this, and he was like, that's enough. We will not be hanging out with this little girl anymore. I mean, he was totally joking because she's like 5 or 6 years old, but I found that to be so hilarious. And it just reminded me that kids are the best mirror. They're so funny. They're so honest. They don't care if they're hurting your feelings. They don't even realize if they're doing it. They're wildly entertaining. And if you're ever feeling down, go around someone else's kids for 30 minutes. Just talk to them. Talk to them like they're an adult. Oh, so what are you up to this weekend? And they'll just tell you, I don't know. My mom made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but I don't really like them. So I'm hoping tomorrow she makes meat and cheese sandwiches. Oh, okay. I mean, it's hilarious. It's just wildly entertaining. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Speaking of entertainment, oh, this is going to be a little bit longer of an episode than I thought. So I'll talk about some pop culture things happening really quickly, and then I'll tell you the movies and the books that I've been reading. So pop culture moments that are going on that are like living in my head right now. Golden Globes, obviously. Joe Coy. First of all, what is going on? Like, him and Chelsea Handler were together. Chelsea Handler got some bad press. You know, every celebrity, no matter what side you were looking at, I think, was getting bad press anytime they talked about, you know, political issues. Chelsea Handler has always been one to speak about political issues, but she was just saying some, you know, she was just taking a different stance than normal. So she got some backlash for that. Her and Joe Coy were dating for like a year, maybe over a year. They split up. He is hosting the Golden Globes, and she's hosting something else that was happening this week too. I saw her like posting a video about it, but he goes onto the Golden Globes with his neon veneers looking insane, and he completely bombs. Like, why would you pick him? First of all, I don't think that Joe Coy has ever been in the position. Do they always pick people that are not in these circles of Hollywood? Like, is Jennifer Coolidge not available? Why wouldn't you get someone like her, who I don't believe was nominated or in a show that was nominated this go round, like a show or a movie? Maybe Golden Globes is only movies. I don't even know that backstory, and who cares? But somebody like her, who is like a national treasure, Kristen Wiig, Will Ferrell, I mean, they're hilarious. And why wouldn't you have asked one of them to host? Maybe they did and they all turned it down, because obviously these hosting gigs are a lot harder than they seem because people just bomb them so bad. But it's almost as if Joe Coy did not have internet access for the past 6 months to a year. Like, everyone was talking about how liberating movies like Barbie or Poor Things, or how they were so incredible and, speaking to the female experience and how it feels to be belittled or reduced to just your body, or reduced to just, oh, well, she's just a girl. She can only do X, Y, and Z, which is what these movies kind of represented. And for him to try to spin that and make it exactly what the movie was going against by making a joke about Barbie just being about someone with big tatas, and Oppenheimer being like an actual movie about something serious, like, read the room. Like, they're up for so many awards. What are you thinking? I personally didn't love the Barbie movie. It was, I've seen a ton of movies this year. You guys know my husband is like a movie buff. And I didn't love the Barbie movie. I mean, I thought the monologues and stuff were cute. I thought the story behind it was cute. Didn't love it. But that award show, and then the tantrum that he threw, just type in on TikTok or YouTube, like, Joe Coy Golden Globes. He gets booed. He makes a joke, and he's just, he's talking about, Barbie, Oppenheimer. He's talking about Taylor Swift. I didn't think the Taylor Swift joke was bad. I actually found that to be kind of funny. There's less cutaways of Taylor Swift at the Golden Globes than there is at a football game. That to me was hilarious because it was a diss to the football game. It wasn't a diss to Taylor Swift, in my opinion. And Swifties, I'm sure, felt differently because Taylor didn't like it. But to me, he was just saying the games are entertaining. Taylor Swift is more entertaining than the football games, and she is, in my opinion. Just like Alex Earl, I ain't never heard of the Dolphins in my life until Alex Earl started showing up to them Dolphin games. Right? Are we right? So anyways, he's getting booed from the crowd, or like I think worse than getting booed is just dead silence as a comedian. So like, he says a joke, it doesn't land, the timing is off. You can see it on his face that he doesn't think that his own jokes are funny. So as he's saying the joke, he like lowers his voice, or he turns away from the microphone, or he starts laughing, nervous laughing in the middle of his own joke, because he knows that they're not funny. And then he goes, some of them I wrote, some of them other people wrote, because it falls flat. And when your delivery is not there, you could be saying the funniest joke in the world, and if you're turning your head around and not really looking in the microphone and people can't hear you, it's not going to land. And so his jokes aren't landing, which, sometimes that happens. And he says, he blames it on the writers. Well, and then he doubles down. He goes, some jokes I wrote, some jokes other people wrote. And then he said, look, I just got this gig 10 days ago and you expect me to have a perfect monologue? Shut up. And he's like yelling at the audience. And then he's like, I only wrote some of these jokes, and guess what? They're the ones you're laughing at. Excuse me, sir. You need to take a Klonopin and chill. Like, this, wildly inappropriate. They probably should have thought about who they were going to have further than 10 days in advance. Whoever was going to do it probably canceled. And now good luck with them getting somebody else, because he's gotten nothing but bad press ever since this show. It was crazy. Like, shouldn't have picked him. Kristen Wiig and Will Ferrell were adorable and hilarious. Kristen Wiig is starting to become someone that I really look up to in the comedy world, for a couple of reasons. One, she started in her early 30s. Like, she was doing acting and some stuff, but she joined an improv comedy group. And then she didn't start doing SNL, I think, until she was like 31 or something, which is just kind of cool to me. Because a lot of times, people can say this over and over again, but women feel like they have an age limit on everything. And 30 is very young, if I do say so myself. So finding out that she didn't start her career, and like people like, oh my gosh, what's the guy's name from The Office? Steve Carell, didn't start their career until their 40s. It's just kind of nice to see. Some other pop culture news. We've seen pretty much every movie. So we saw the Von Erickson brothers. What is that called? With Zac Efron and Jeremy Allen White. I didn't think Jeremy Allen White stole the show in that movie. Everybody's talking about how cool he is and how hot he is. I think that Harris Dickinson, I thought that was his movie, him and Zac Efron. Zac Efron shined through in that movie. I don't know what kind of steroids and stuff that he's on to make his face and body look like that. He might need to go and start kind of pulling back on those a little bit. But his acting, I thought, was some of the best acting I've seen from Zac Efron. But I thought Harris Dickinson was my favorite actor in the movie. Jeremy Allen White did a good job, but wasn't my favorite. Did I love Jeremy Allen White in Shameless? Yes. The season of him and his teacher, top tier to me, my favorite. That whole love dynamic was my favorite of the entire series. But yeah, he didn't steal the show for me in that movie. Poor Things with, what's her name? Emma Stone. Weird. It was weird, y'all, but I was into it. So I was trying to explain it to a friend last night, actually. And if you've ever seen Black Mirror and the stuff that's going on makes you so uncomfortable, but you can't really stop watching and you can kind of understand the thought process, that's the vibe that you get. Like the creepy Black Mirror, like, ooh, this is inappropriate, but like I have to see where it goes. And this is actually kind of interesting. Plus the costuming was amazing. Her like very like over the top costuming and the shoulder pads. And I just loved it. She's stunning with the long black hair. I thought it was beautiful. Such a different character for her, but also the same because it was still a comedy. She was still funny. She was still interesting. Never have I seen her in like play like a more sexual role, which she definitely does in this movie. It is very rated X. But even that, like I still didn't picture her as like, I still see like the cute little Emma Stone, if that makes sense. It's not like those sex scenes like scar me for life, but yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. Am I going to watch it on repeat over and over again as like my go-to movie? No, because it was a little strange, a little heavy, but I definitely thought it was worth seeing in theaters. The next movie I saw was Anyone But You. I went and saw that with my mother-in-law and it was cute. It was weird. I liked Sydney Sweeney's outfits and yeah, I felt like the story was kind of choppy. They could have made you care about the characters a little bit more. And like the first 30 minutes, they like do this long scene of them meeting each other, but you don't really know anything about them. Like you don't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy. You don't know if she's like a good character or a bad character. You just see this long drawn out like 10, 15-minute scene of them meeting, which was cute and quirky, but you just don't really care about them. Like when I think of like the OG rom-coms, it's like you see the characters like in their day-to-day life. Like it does like a montage of like what their day looks like. Does their day look really mundane or are they always focused on work? Or like part of the movie she was talking about like going to school to become a lawyer and how it was so overwhelming, but it doesn't show her in the library studying. Or I love a good movie montage. I love a good like, let's do a little montage to recap 2 or 3 months. They just kind of jumped around to places in the movie, which I didn't really like. And then it was almost as if a lot of the actors in the movie felt like they were told to act like they were in a rom-com, if that makes sense. But overall, I thought the movie was cute. I mean, if it was playing on TV, I'd probably keep it on the channel just because it would be like good, like background or whatever. Her outfits were adorable. The very first like white t-shirt with the high-waisted cigarette leg jeans and the black boots I thought was so cute. And I went out and bought those cigarette jeans like the next day, loved them. And so, yeah, it was cute. It was okay. Cute little rom-com, very cute outfits. Also not something I would typically go and see with a mother-in-law or a parent because I didn't realize how overtly sexual that movie was going to be. I saw body parts that you probably don't want to see sitting next to your mother-in-law. And I did not think that it was going to be that graphic of a movie, but it was. So Anything But You is a lot more sexual than you would imagine. Just a couple little parts. And then what's the last thing that I've seen? Oh, yesterday. Yesterday we saw an early premiere of Mean Girls. Let's all just sit in silence for a second. So, yeah, I really wanted to like this. I was excited about Mean Girls because it's like a 20-year reunion. This was like my coming of age movie was Mean Girls. It was like, oh, the cliques, that's what it's like. And I just have so much to say. I wish that they would have, and Tina Fey I'm obsessed with. Obsessed. I love her. If you're going to watch it, just skip this part. I'll see you next episode because it's going to be full of spoilers. But they pretty much just repeated the original movie again. So it's the exact same storyline. She wore the exact same Halloween costume. They say the exact same lines. Like, it's October 3rd. All of these things are still in the movie. It's the exact same movie. She, drug pusher. Like, all of these things are exactly the same. And they just added music to it. Like, it's a musical and it's a new cast, but it's the exact same movie. So the music obviously changes it up. I'm not a huge fan of the musical comedy aspect of it. I was really, really hoping and wishing that the storyline was going to be more like the original girls. And maybe some of the girls didn't want to come back, but I was really hoping that the original girls, it's been like 20 plus years. Like, if they were now the moms and you had a new group of mean girls, but they were mean in a more current way. So it's like, I wanted to see the OG, Rachel McAdams, Regina George, Lindsay Lohan, Gretchen Wiener, Amanda Seyfried. I wanted to see them parent, like, knowing what they knew from being plastics and Mean Girls or whatever, with the new girls that were maybe in similar roles, but you had one outsider, but maybe there was like somebody leaked something on the internet, because that's kind of what happens in teen groups now. And that's what starts the drama, is a group chat. And it's not more like embarrassing someone in the cafeteria. It's just not as common. So yeah, I was just a little bit let down. There were some characters, like some huge standout characters, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a quick Google so that I know these characters' names. But the guy that played, and they had the same name. So it was another Janice Ian. It was exactly Katie Heron. Like, it was all the same characters and everything. But the gentleman that played Darian, Jaquel Spivey, loved him. He was adorable. He was hilarious. Renee Rapp played Regina George, and I think she did an amazing job. This might be her first acting gig. I don't know. I didn't know of her until this. But once I saw her in this, I did do a deep dive, and I know that she's a singer, which makes sense because this is, a musical, and she pretty much dominated all the singing roles and did an amazing job. But the attitude that she portrayed, like being Regina George and like with the lip curled up and her head tilted back, was okay. But she's such a cool girl. Like, if you just go through her social media feed and just see like her interacting, like her hanging out with Meg Thee Stallion, and like, she just is such that cool girl in her natural life. Like, I really think that she could have walked in and played herself and maybe hit the mark a little bit more as Regina George. Because that's the thing about being like the cool popular girl, what's her name? Rachel McAdams, that played the OG Regina George. Like, she wasn't acting cool. She was just like, I'm myself, and y'all all just happen to be obsessed with me. But yeah, it was cute. It was cute. All the little actresses did a good job, and they were entertaining, and I don't know. I wanted more. More, I tell ya. Tina Fey, call me. We'll collab later. I'm just kidding. Okay, well, now I didn't think we were going to make it past 20 minutes, and here we are at almost 40 minutes. So thanks for listening to me ramble your ear off. This was just kind of like BFFs FaceTiming is what I thought. I'm going to go and work sitting on my couch because I'm diligently waiting for a package to arrive that they had to put the little sticky note on my door and say that I wasn't here, but I was here. I was here ready and excited, and it's a cool new piece of equipment that I can use, and I want to try it out for the weekend. But yeah, I hope everyone has a fantastic day. I hope if you go see the movie, let me know any of those movies that I mentioned. Let me know what you think about it. Oh, yeah. I'm reading some new books. I kind of want to start a book club. Let me know what you guys think about that. I might start one in my local area, but I've been really into reading physical books. So like the last hour of my day, I'm just reading a book and I really like it. And I say that as if it's something that I invented, but y'all, I could barely read. So this has been huge for me. The first book that I read, I finished last week, which was The Party Upstairs. And I liked it. It was really cute. It's like a book about nothing, which I like. It's like the relationship between a dad and a daughter living in New York. And this happens to be another book based out of New York. It's My Year of Rest and Relaxation. It's hilarious. It sounds depressing, but the shocking and strangely tender story of a young woman's efforts to duck the ills of the world with the help of the worst physician and psychiatric assistant of all time. Which is true. So what she's trying to do is she's had some traumatic things happen in her life and she is wanting to hibernate, as she calls it, for a year. And so she goes to a psychiatrist who's prescribing her just like all of these medications, like just throwing medications and prescription pills at her. And she's trying all of them and she's trying to sleep 24 hours a day if she can. And so she's like lying to the psychiatrist and she's like, I just have so much to do at work, but really, she's not really working. She's sleeping all day and she's living off of an inheritance. And it's so strange, but it's so interesting. And I really like it. It's something that you can just read and kind of just enjoy. You're not really learning anything. I tend to lean towards like self-help or like learning books, but this is just something that I'm reading for fun and I enjoy it. I got it off of Thrift Books at like a huge discount. So always check there. I mean, I shouldn't say that because then the next time I want a book, y'all have already bought it. But if you want to do a little book club recap at the end of some of these, I'm happy to, but start this. I think I'm on chapter 3 now. I started it this week, maybe on Monday or Sunday. So catch up and I will see you guys next week. Love you so much. Later.